Yo, what it do, Sumani crew? Welcome back to another episode of Bag Talk with Sumani with moi. Hello, everybody. How are we feeling? I hope we are feeling good, looking good. Happy new week. Happy whatever, whenever you're tuning into this. Thank you for tuning. But we are back with another episode. Yay, thank God. Like, I'm being consistent. Okay, let's not jinx it or knock on wood. But how are we feeling, y'all? For this week's episode, I want to kind of touch on living in Chicago a little bit. But before we do that, I want to go ahead. I feel like it's very relevant to kind of my weekend experience that I just went through. And I think it's just interesting to kind of open up that dialogue because a lot of people, when you're living downtown in whatever city or state, I feel like it's always romanticized. And sometimes it's not. At least everybody's, perception of it is different. You know what I mean? So I want to touch base on that since I have been relatively living in Chicago for like the past 4 years. So we'll dive into that. But I want to say shout out to my friend Marcos, who came up with a whole bunch of podcast topics for me to talk about, and as well to my other friends who not only encourage me but give me ideas when I'm able to go to them and I'm like, hey, like I just don't know what to talk about. You guys are able to be like, hey, like we would actually be interested in hearing about this, or you should do this. So I really do appreciate it because it's kind of like a struggle point. I think we all know. I think we could all tell. But I'm happy to be back. But yeah, to kind of go into the episode. So this weekend I went out with some friends in Chicago, downtown in West Loop. And it was super fun. And you know what? It was something that I was missing because I had a period in my life where I was going out almost every weekend. But it wasn't like unhealthily. It was tiring nonetheless, but it was fun, right? Because it was new. It was exciting. It was freeing, whatever you want to call it. It was adventurous, because I was going to new places that I haven't been. I was going out with friends. I was meeting new people. And it was just definitely, when people give this glamour of nightlife in the beginning, because it's always in the beginning that people romanticize nightlife, or it's like a drug, you become addicted to always going out. That's definitely how I felt, but I never let it get too crazy. So now with like starting a job, just also re-evaluating the people that I have in my life, the people that I do go out with and spend time with. It's a little bit different because I don't have the luxury of being able to go out all the time, and I'm cautious with my money now. You know what I mean? Like, so I like to be cognizant or conscious of that. And it's different. The dynamic has definitely changed, but it was fun. This week I hadn't been out in a long time. It was chill, and I went to Soho House, and it was the first time that I went to Soho in Chicago. So I didn't even realize it was like super close to me or whatnot, and it was fun. And so I think that this topic is kind of fitting for my recent experience and just overall how I'm feeling about being here in Chicago and what I want out of it, right? So, of course, I live down here due to school, and then as well because of my job. So, I'm grateful to be living in a city I'm a city girl, okay? All I've ever wanted was to move downtown, live in a high rise, you know what I mean? Have that lifestyle, and I'm grateful and blessed enough to say that that's my current situation, you know what I mean? So, it saddens me a little bit that I'm not getting the most out of it, and I'm aware of that, you know what I mean? I look at TikToks, I look at, other people and seeing them go out and stuff like that and try new restaurants, try new little bar scene, or go on this scene or know these people. And I'm like, damn, like I'm really inside. And it's been like that, I want to say throughout the 4 years, I don't really go out, not only because am I kind of scared of the world. Like, I'm not going to lie, like, crime is kind of scary, and that's known here in Chicago. You always have to be aware of your surroundings. You can't ever really let loose as compared to if you're in a suburb, you know what I mean, that you've grown up in, or your hometown, where you're comfortable. You can never be too comfortable with places, but you're comfortable enough to know where you are, how to get out and exit, as compared to living in Chicago. Some places are small, crowded, overpopulated, and you never know who's going to walk in or what the situation could be. And it doesn't matter whether it's like an event that's happening or a special occasion like a holiday. Craziness happens everywhere, especially down like in the club scene and stuff like that. You always have to be aware of your surroundings. So I feel like that's also been a key thing as to me being hesitant to go out. And nonetheless, I don't have many friends that, will come out here. Not all of mine, but majority of my friends are either back in my hometown, which is a ways away from here. And it's like, okay, when you see, okay, yeah, like I'll come out, either they're not gonna drink because they have to drive back home, or if not, we have to figure out like staying arrangements and stuff like that. And some people don't want to waste money on a hotel, or I either don't have space, or it's just like a whole thing. It's literally every time you go out, or at least with me, it has to be a plan. And I am a very spontaneous person. I'm the type of person that I'd be like, yo, let's go and run an errand real quick, or come with me here, or let's go do this. Like, I would love to just be like, hey, let's go down the street to a cafe. You know what I mean? And I don't have that luxury as of right now, and especially with my sister being young. She's not 21 yet, so it's like, damn, I really don't have, like, my sidekick to go out with me, or a partner to go out with me if I wanted to whenever, So that's kind of been my struggle point. Not only, it's expensive. It is expensive, and, you have to, that limits what you want to do, and it adds more to the planning aspect, because it's like, okay, if we're going to drive or if we're going to do something, we have to park. How much is parking? How long? Is it a good area to park? Or do we Uber? How much is that? Blah, blah, blah. It's a lot. But living in Chicago, it is a dream and a blessing, and something that I feel like I do take for granted, and something that I wish I was getting more out of. And so it all changes right now. It all changes starting from this episode on. I am going out in Chicago. I am meeting people in Chicago. I need to experience things in Chicago. I'm tired of saving like bucket list items or seeing other people go out and do the things that I want to do. Meanwhile, I'm in the center of Chicago. Like, what am I doing? I'm literally downtown. You know what I mean? But I will say, and I feel like this is a relevant also topic, because I don't know if anybody's been seeing the discourse of like people saying like influencers migrating to Chicago. There's not that much of an influencer scene. Like, there is, but it's very minimum or minimal. And some of the people that I've spoken to are still human. Some people just in general are dry. And that's something that I noticed throughout college, especially when it comes to the influencer scene or whatever, fame scene, whatever the hell you want to call it. People that aren't somebody like to act like if they're somebody. And that's kind of where it's like a turn off, you know what I mean? Like, even with having friendships, because if you are somebody to some degree or extent, people are going to try to get something out of you instead of uplifting you or having an organic friendship. And at the same time, some friendships are important where you guys could give and take, you know what I mean? But when it just comes that's the sole purpose of a friendship, that's not a friendship. That's a connection. That's a network. That's a colleague. You know what I mean? Like, that's not, I feel like that's where I kind of went wrong within my life, is that I was labelizing these people that had connections or could connect me to other people or inspired me, or within the same industry, I was labelizing them as friends when really they were just work, like partners, like colleagues, like associates, whatever you will. But I will say, within the Chicago scene, from me kind of going out and the experiences that I have, it's really cool. People are friendly. People will go up and talk. There are that few, but I feel like that's everywhere, where like they try to act stank. But it's a vibe, you know what I mean? And that's why I wish I could go out more, because I don't even know why I say I wish, because it's really all up to me, but then it's also the circumstances that I'm with, which is what I'm doing different, y'all. Like, I'm going out. I can't do it. I can't stay inside. What is the point? Even though I love staying inside, but at the same time, I'm a social butterfly. I like to meet new people. I like to be seen. I like to be heard. Hello, Exhibit A. But I also, there's so many things that I'm missing out on, I feel like, by not going out. There's so many, like, it's funny how much of a small circle Chicago is when it comes to the people, and that's also could be a bad thing. Like, it's so funny that I met it was like a mutual thing, right? My friend at the time was talking to this guy, and that's how we met and got connected. They separated, and now I'm still in contact with, like, the guy or whatever. He's not my friend. But it's funny now because now I basically see him everywhere I go. And it's like, wow, if I wouldn't have been introduced, or if we wouldn't have ever met, and let's say we were in these same rooms, like, I would still be seeing you everywhere just without knowing you. So it's really, I feel like, a small community. Like, if, like, it's a small, like, everybody knows everybody type situation, you know what I mean? Everybody's connected somehow, which is scary because, baby, when you dating, oof, that's why I haven't even touched them apples, and I'm scared too. I'm scared. But then that's also the comfort of it, is that it's like, okay, everybody knows everybody, or everybody knows somebody. So it's just an everlasting kind of circle of connections and whatnot. But I feel like living in Chicago, I don't take the train. I don't take public transportation. I just Uber or drive. And that's just a preference. So those that do, you guys are brave soldiers. That's when safety of Chicago comes into play for me. You know what I mean? And I'm a scaredy cat. For somebody that, has been in the suburbs all of my life, I've been able to drive. I've had the luxury of being able to drive wherever I want, or having a car and having my parents take me, whatever. Like, when I first started using Uber, like, that was scary. Like, you know what I mean? Because I just, with my grandmother always saying, like, be careful, like, never, like, take care of yourself, like, woo woo. I always had, like, my, like, blinkers are on, or my radar always activated. So public transportation, trains, but I also get motion sickness, so that's why I don't really like to take public transportation, because then I'm always have to be popping and drumming mean, okay? I have a very sensitive stomach when it comes to that, so that's why I like to just be in control of it. But as far as the public transportation, I feel like we have, I think, like, a good, there is needing some tweaks, some security needed to be on the public transportation, a little bit more cleanliness, but compared to other areas, I think that it's fine. People are able to get to work, from work, get to and from wherever they gotta go at the end of the day. So I think it does its job there. But definitely could be ramped up on security. Living in Chicago, and then as well, the weather, right? When it is warm out here, baby, it is warm. And it is perfect. Like, I love Chicago in the summer, and that's why I'm like, I vow to enjoy it. I love going to Lollapalooza. You guys may or may not already know that because of my vlogs. I'm a festival girl. I love going out to music, celebrating concerts. I love it all. I like going to, sports games or whatever, whether it be football, baseball. I love a good baseball game in 90 degrees, babe. Well, not in 90. That's exaggerated. That's like something that I went through at a Sox game before many, many years ago, where I was sweating, like, shirt off, baby, just tank top on with a baseball cap, okay? But the weather here is great. Everybody talks about the winters and stuff like that, which are brutal. But when you're from the Midwest, you get used to that type of weather. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's enough to make me want to move out of Chicago. Like that. Like, I wouldn't say weather is an excuse, because I compare it to, like, Florida, for example. Like, it's humid. Like, so do I want to be feeling, like, musty and stinky all the time? No, that's just a preference. Not saying that y'all are or anything like that, because I was born in Miami. But I genuinely like living downtown Chicago. Once you live here for a minute and you know your ways around, it's literally just like a square or a circle. Like, I'm finally, now that I have to drive myself to work and stuff like that, I'm familiar with the roads, and everything started clicking, like, as compared to, like, if I was living in a suburb where you could drive, to the grocery store and home with your eyes closed, you're familiar with the road, like the back of your hand. That's kind of the situation that's developing here. And once you learn how to drive in Chicago, I feel like you could drive anywhere, because some of the lanes is very small, especially on Lakeshore Drive, really tight-knit. People don't know how to drive in Chicago, and people will just, try to walk all over you, but you gotta give it back. Even though I know that's horrible driving advice, but that's something that I did. Like, you're not about to, because if you just let people like bash you, this is like, I'm going off the roads here, but don't take this advice. I'm just saying, you have to drive like if like this is your home, like if you're in the suburbs, like drive like, because you will get cut off, but be careful, because I'm always scary with people having like Glocks in their cars. And I don't do the road rage, I don't flick people off, I don't swear, I don't cuss or anything like that when I'm driving, because you never know with people, and that goes for wherever you are. Road rage will get you killed. I'm not trying to go, that's not going to be how I go. You know what I mean? But Chicago is beautiful. It is a walkable city, thank God. It is a clean city compared to New York, babe. You could walk these sidewalks and these streets and you don't see trash, which is something, as I've traveled to New York before, it's like a little bit of New York is in Chicago. And I wouldn't know or be able to say if like a little bit of LA or California is in Chicago as well. It gives me the most like New York vibes, but New York is 10 times more, I feel like, hectic and chaotic, very close together with the buildings, and like the stores, or just how the buildings are structured. Like it's hard to know where's a door, where's not, to enter a place, as compared to Chicago. I think architecturally, like it's better. I like Chicago. I really do. And that's why when people are like, oh, like I want to move out of like the state, I'm like, well, I don't know if I would leave Illinois. Like maybe so I would want to live here downtown for a couple more years, I guess, until I'm tired of it. But I don't think I ever will be tired of it. I think Chicago is downtown is great. And like I said, it just comes to the beginning of what I've been saying. I want to get more out of it. And that's completely on me. I'm taking accountability and responsibility, because there is so much to do here. When it's in the summer, like I said, games. We have a little beach you could go to, get your tan. Or if not, we have these beautiful buildings where you could go in the pools and get a tan or throw a little party. Like, the atmosphere in Chicago, and if you, like I said, if you're involved and if you know people, you will have fun. It's 10 times, there's always something to do. So like with all that being said, coming back, I know I'm blessed, I'm grateful, because it is expensive being able to live here. Like, don't think like I don't know that. Like, it took a whole village and army and everything for me to be in the situation that I am, and that's why I'm like, I owe it to myself to be trying to get the most out of it, because it's a luxury, it's a blessing, and not many people can even be here. You know what I mean? So I want to take advantage of the life that I have while I'm here, go out, make mistakes. I don't want to, but I know that's inevitable. Make mistakes, have fun, meet new people, be in places. It's just, I want to live my fantasy, and I think that 2024 is the year to live my fantasy and to do something about it. I need to stop waiting for shit to happen to me and make shit happen. Period. So that's kind of my mentality. That's kind of my motto. The lighting changed, so sorry to my visual viewers. But that's living in Chicago. That's that song. And when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it. Come on. Chicago's beautiful. It's magical. I need to make it magical. And the food. Before we sign off, the food, y'all. The villages, the areas. There's community everywhere. So make yourself a part of a community. That's why I'm literally tweaking. Like, there's artist communities. There's ethnic communities. The food is marvelous. There's a home for everyone. You know what I mean? And making the most out of the shit that you have. You know what I mean? So that's what I vow to do. And this episode kind of inspired that. And I hope it inspired it for anybody, whether you're downtown, whether you're in the suburb. Try to make the most out of it. Go explore, go see, go be involved, go do something new. Go, and whether you want to romanticize it or not, make a video about it. It's a memory at the end of the day. So enjoy it, be in it. And don't take things for granted. Appreciate. Something that I do every night, is to give gratitude, give thanks, because I know that I'm lucky. I know that I'm blessed, and I'm grateful for the life that I live. Okay? So that's my little take on Chicago. I don't know how long I'll be down here or living here for. But yeah, it was kind of crazy to start off the video by to start off the episode saying, like, I've been here for 4 years. Like, hot damn, made me scream like summer jam. Like, that's so true. Like, I have been. And it's like, and I've barely done anything. No more. No longer. So if anybody who lives in Chicago feels the same way that I do, know that you're not alone. Know that we're not losers, and we're going to make a change starting today. Okay? But yeah, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. If you guys have any special like topics or requests, feel free to comment that or send me a message on Instagram. And I'd love to kind of just add it to my list. I have a list here. But yeah, let me know what the hell you guys want to hear me talk about. It doesn't have to be anything, motivational. If it's either just an opinion or a subject, I'm willing to talk about it. Because 2024 is about being heard, being seen, and being free. I love that actually a lot. I love it a lot. But yeah, y'all already know. Make sure to give this podcast a 5-star rating and review on whichever platform that you are currently tuned. Okay, whether it be on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. Whether it be on Spotify, give it a 5-star. And Apple Podcasts, 5-star. Google, review it, star it, all of the above. Okay, and I thank you guys so much for continuing to listen to me sit here and talk some shit. Okay, it's my favorite thing to do, believe it or not. It really is, because I go on for hours, which I'm sure y'all can tell by now. But make sure to go ahead and follow the Instagram at Bag Talk with Sumani. Make sure to follow my Instagram at Solano. Always remember to take care, stay safe, be kind, and get in your bag.